The incredible quirkiness of nature breeds animals whose existence is sometimes hard to believe. Today you and I will watch again for unusual creatures around the world. Volcanic Island Mila, vital resting place for migratory birds migrating to Africa, and the snakes here are very comfortable. Taking advantage of this fact, there are few streams and birds need water from them, and snakes need birds and they know where to wait for them. The most hurtful, that many snakes even impossible to see until the shadows move, so they have a good disguise. But even more offensive, what and well noticeable, red snakes don't stay here with anything either. Young birds just haven't seen them before. Here they're being careless, which costs them their lives. There is one more similar small island of Shidao. China Shidao means snake island, and there are really 20,000 snakes here. Survive. They are all here too, only at the expense of migratory birds who visit the island twice a year for a holiday. The rest of the year snakes are inactive here. They are starving and sleeping. But now that the island is flooded with birds, they have limited time to eat enough for 6 months ahead. At dawn, snake searches the best perch. Even a modest twig will do. 20,000 traps are waiting for songbird. Snakes are waiting, assembling the front of the body into a harmonica, getting ready for a catchy moment, and the victim is caught. On one bird, the snake won't stop. She keeps hunting next until catches another 2, 3. 2 weeks old snakes keep going out hunting daily. Snake Island is the last place on the planet where birds should fly, but luckily for snakes, they don't understand this. We are transported to the mountains of harsh ant. Spectacled bears live here in Peru, who love maximum comfort and convenience. They are the only kind of bears in South America. Wanda, 8 months may not be raining. This is the only spring for many kilometers. Green oasis. Bear can rest here. And after rest you also need a good sleep. Sleeping these bears prefer, also with maximum comfort. And for this they do that what no one other bears do. They climb a tree, break a lot of branches, and of them make themselves a real bed. The tree is slightly cooler than the ground. Bear likes it. Finally, you can sleep almost like with air conditioning. Nice and comfortable. This mineral spring in the forest of the island of Sulawesi, a place that attracts many creatures. Every day of Bobaras come out of the forest in family groups of 10 animals. So many animals come to drink. What a crowd is going to soon. It's very annoying local macaques. Even more strange looking male Bobaras. You probably think, what is it, his horns are so weird? But no, it's fangs. In males, fangs grow through the upper palate. These animals are descendants of ancient pigs, coming here from Asia. Separation of the island from the mainland. In isolation on a nightingale, they transformed a lot. Once, no joke, the local people counted that males used their unusual fangs to hang on branches while sleeping. Another explanation was hard to think of, since fangs they don't use to fight. Instead, when male Bobaras fight, they just box standing onto legs. Looks, it's not less weird than their fangs. Ability to stand onto legs they usually use to in the forest get to the leaves of the trees. Like deer, their name Bobarasci comes from the words pig and deer, and how deer males compete with each other. Tusks are also used as horns. Japanese tree ants are very horny. It's because of annoying FLIs flying around the hump. One of the smallest FLIs in the world, but they hang around for ants all the time. Humpbacks tag ants in the tail. Finally, one of them manages to sit on one of the ants, and then she FLIs away, but thinks at a fly on an ant. So what about that? But that's what this ant crawls into the anthill, and soon very strange things begin to happen to him. Things after 5 days you can see by it that there is clearly something wrong with him. He's definitely uncomfortable. Another ant trying to help, but it's useless. But 7 hours after the appearance of the first symptoms, the ant just falls off its head. Well, and then the ant goes for another 12 hours without a head, and lives in such zombified state. What does all this mean? That fly that landed on him 5 days earlier decided his fate, since the fly managed to lay an egg in his tail, and then the parasite already started eating the insides of the ant, turning the owner into a zombie. Well, the head of the ant comes off for that. to formed. Humpback could have left the ant's body, because this type of humpback is also called by FLI's thugs. And if you think, what after the head rip off? The fly is here in this ant body. Then no, she is exactly in the fallen off head, where from over time and crawls out. Another colony was unlucky even more. There are dozens of ant heads falling off, from which FLIs come out. Have you all heard of mountain goats, whose ability to stand and live on practically vertical slopes made them whirled by celebrities? They climb on rocks, not just in search of food and safety, but also sometimes in search of various minerals. For example, if you remember the famous video on the internet, where the goats climbed the dam for salt, which flowed down her, that's just the case. There are very few salts here, because goats go to such a trick for her prey. However, what is their cubs? Who can't, so professional to climb such steep slopes? For example, this one climbs the dam for the first time. He has no choice, except go for the mother. Fall sure death. The higher the cub rises, vertical wall, all hope for his superpower. Soft elastic soles cover even the smallest. Protrusions grab them between the hard parts of the hoof. He balances on the verge of life and death, and it's a pretty tiring job for a toddler like that. He's out of breath fast, and it is impossible to relax here. Otherwise you will immediately fall and crash, but he can no longer stand. What should he do? His mother comes to his rescue. She's backing it up, giving him time to lie down and recuperate. Goat falls asleep right on a vertical wall. Incredible, after a little nap they continue the way. Finally, do not find themselves at a height of 50 meters at the coveted salt, which contains concrete, and which the seeping water brings out of it. This salt is very important for healthy goat growth. However, there are predators who enjoy love. Mountain goats climb high altitudes. These are golden eagles. They are very grateful to goats that those climb high, since it makes their job incredibly easy. Burkett attacks goat, grabs him, and then drags the unfortunate right to the abyss, and just lets Thailand in New Zealand. It gets really hot at noon, and boobies are literally dying from this heat. Frequent breathing doesn't help, but moisture is lost with it, which leads to fatal dehydration, though around the cool sea. But underformed chicks can't reach him. However, adults thought of a brilliant life hack: how to chill your kids. They dive for cool moist algae, bring them to their children, and press them against overheating chicks. And that's on not weak saves. Better not come up. Moving to Australia, there are burrows of Dawson bees digging in the ground. It's not just one of the biggest bees, but also the most inadequate of them. There are few flowers in these lands, so bee colonies are small and scattered. Bees dig holes for their offspring. Community lives in harmony, and difficult to imagine that there are mass murders happening in it. Peace reigns in the colony now, because there's only one females here, and killers are males, and they're all dead. Killed each other. This story started 2 months ago before the females appeared. Are those male Dawson bees? Females only get picked to the surface one by one, digging their way out of the boil they grew. Their smell is spraying males. They are huge and made for battle. Everyone wants to take a better seat to mate with a female. The female only grew up and already gets into the thick of events. Thirsty males attack her with a huge tabernacle and literally tear the female apart. Unfortunate ripped off his head. While there is a battle for other females, males mercilessly kill each other, and by then, how the last female climbs out of the hole. All males are already dead. This battle royale led to that only the strongest males were able to fertilize the largest number of females before the death of the brave. 2 months later, and in this world of females, the next generation grows up, languishing in burrows, which will soon just as well begin a bloodbath. Since we talked about the animals of Australia, then you cannot ignore the main beast of this country. Kangaroos live in their bags, cubs, who troubles do not know, but it was always interesting to know, how reliable is the bag? Can a cub fall out of her? Like if the mother runs away from a predator, and they have to run. In these parts, kangaroos are hunted by their worst enemies, dingoes. Man brought them to this mainland 31,000 years ago, and since then they began to exterminate kangaroos. Now these marsupials always have to be alert. Seeing the threat, kids immediately hide in a bag. Dingo drives kangaroo, looking for the slowest. One mom with heavy load-in bag behind herd. Hunters approaching her. She's picking up the highest possible speed, which is only capable of with such a load. And those swings start pushing the cubs out of the bag. He's trying to hold on as best he can, but the shaking is too strong, and it falls out suddenly. Figuring out that the kangaroo bag is not perfectly reliable, house dingo immediately throw over. On unfortunate desert on mid, the oldest desert in the world. It's noon now, and because it's hellish hot here, and different animals escape from this heat by diving into the sand. But the cider spider came up with another way to hide from the heat. It withstands higher temperatures than other spiders, as much as 50 degrees. But it will be even hotter, because the spider must quickly weave the blanket out of the sand to hide from the heat. Then he settles down under his blanket and waits. One ant is unlucky to step on his blanket, and this means that he is doomed. The vibes along the silk threads come straight to the spider. Going outside, he is too hot, because the spider just tightens the victim straight to your lair, under the blanket to sleep forever. But I already told you about this spider. But now more has become known about him, because he deserves attention again. This crab spider takes advantage of its disguise to catch and eat insects who arrive to pollinate the flower. So now it became known that bees visit flowers with this spider 3 times more often than without him. How is this possible? If look at the flowers under the ultraviolet light, then you can see that there are dark areas on the petals, marking landing lines for bees, guiding their nectar. The plant wants to be guaranteed pollinated, but spider learned how to use these signals. Watching her using a special camera can be seen that she reflects ultraviolet light. It becomes even more noticeable. Sitting on a flower, this bright shine acts as a super signal against which the bee can't resist, and the spider takes advantage of it to the maximum. The Arctic Ocean is at the top. Northern Hemisphere. In winter, ice covers an area of almost 110,000,000 sq.km. But off the coast of Arctic Russia, a small corner of water does not freeze in any way. 30 belugas interfere with ice formation, being trapped here. These 4-meter-long northern whales were trapped because they come to the surface every 15 minutes to breathe, because they are mammals. The problem is that within a radius of 30 kilometers everything is covered with ice, and because they can't sail away from here, otherwise suffocate. But here already ran out of all the fish and squid. They have nothing else to eat, all that could be caught and eat near this air oasis. They ate and are now terribly hungry, but they can't swim away, otherwise death. This time winter turned out to be colder than before, and belugas don't know what to do for them. The chance of salvation will appear only with the change of time of year. Wish them luck. American desert, Sonora. Not the easiest place to live. The whole area is completely covered with cacti, but there is an animal which thought of how to use this fact to your advantage. The fact is that there are a lot of predators, and they're well armed with claws or poison. Surviving here is very difficult, but you also need to raise offspring, and therefore cactus spikes can serve here. Good weapons. Female desert hamster collects a bunch of dry cactus balls in one place. Turns out a real impregnable fortress. This hamster is a cactus specialist and can easily close any gap of these spiky balls. The great multitude of good cacti, they are dumped in copious quantities, so they breed. Reliably fortified burrows of hamsters make life very difficult. Predators, because in this prickly castle, hiding not only hamster, well, and other small animals county when they try to run away from chase. Among other things, the hamster also eats these cacti, because it's both food and protection. Mekong River in Southeast Asia. She is very poor in oxygen, but there is one kind who has very cleverly adapted to this problem. Siamese fighting fish. Male breathes swallowing air from the surface, and while breeding uses this, creating fruit from bubbles. He works day by day. Frame waiting nearby rises to inspect the fetus. This time she seems to be satisfied with everything. Their bodies are woven in their arms, and that encourages the female to spawn. While the eggs are down, male fertilizes them. Then both carefully collect eggs, after which they blow one by one into the nest of their bubbles. In stagnant oxygen, pour water. A crink will get enough oxygen to develop Brilliant problem solution. Before you, amazing animal. Snail pond. She slides on the film of water on the inside due to its surface tension. This is something fantastic. I already showed you a bug once, which similarly walks on a film of water upside down, and that's how it turned out. Some snails are also capable of this. It's a colony of Lasius ants. They live in rotten wood and kill everything what gets in their way. But this barn mule rivulet exceptions. She is in the sink, which I made myself, and now the larva can safely live among ants without fear that they will eat it. That hideout has holes on the right and left. Depending on the situation, she can choose what hole to look out of and move in that direction. She's advancing, clinging to his strong jawlines. These ants have strong acid. They attack anyone who crosses their possessions. But barn moths, they can't do anything. She is securely protected, no matter how the ants spin it and bite it. This is useless. The sink is so durable. What, there's not one scratch on her. Larva is pretty smart, even surrounded by ants. She keeps calm and runs away when the right moment comes. Nimbleness she also does not occupy. As soon as the ant approaches, she immediately dives into the sink without knowing it herself. She parasites on anthills, getting protection from them, and food for her is the waste left by ants. But sometimes she gets something more valuable. She drags the booty under the sink and calmly eats. There are incredible bodies of water on our planet. Where are so many bioluminescent tiny organisms? That water glows from any touch, from any hesitation, whether it's a wave or a floating boat. And even if you walk on the beach near these bodies of water, then he will glow up too, reacting to your steps. In waters filled with bioluminescent life, even the crab breath is highlighted, and this sets him up a lot, as it draws unnecessary attention from afar. But there is a crustacean, which uses the ability to glow as a weapon. These are astracodes. Quite decent dinner for this fish. How she seems. Fish swallows astracoda and immediately spits out its booty. She's out of her teeth. Astracodes fill their body with an unstable cocktail of substances. When attacked by a predator, substances are mixed, which leads to bioluminescence. Flashes are brighter than a lantern. Astracodes store enough substance to produce 10 such flashes, and the taste is so unpleasant that fish immediately spits out the prey. And the escape plan of this crustacean is even more brilliant. The flash is so bright that not only blinds the fish, but also gives it. Unhappy fish loses ability for a while. What either see, but you can see it perfectly. This is usually unhealthy. There is always a bigger fish in the ocean. Interesting picture observed in thickets of reeds. Someone successfully bent the reed. Lots of cane leaves bent, forming pocket. The architect of these unusual houses is Intercoit spider. A great house is being built without any bricks. Amazing design solution. Will quickly build such a house. Leaf edges carefully selected, as if the spider used roulette. The female covered her eggs with cobwebs and tangled them back and forth 1,000 times. Thanks to mother's diligence, eggs can grow safe. Mother stands guard all day, denying yourself food in case of a predator attack. Thanks to motherly love and care, eggs start to hatch inside the web. Already snoozing Pachata, prod bag spider cubs break out of the web bag. Thanks to his mother's care, a large number of spiders hatched safely. The moment of birth, spiders need to mind themselves. Food to survive in a cruel world. They first of all have to eat, but they cannot hunt spider yet. How will they survive? Everything is simple. Mother offers hungry cubs to eat themselves alive. She's not moving until her offspring suck her dry. Female intercohide spider sacrifices herself, providing offspring with the best start in life. After the spiders eat the mother, they get out of their dwelling and run away where. But in the British outback were born lectures Adota. There are about 200 siblings, and believe they're relatives you would not want to be. These babes are already staring at each other. They are cannibals, and immediately start attacking their relatives. After birth, brothers eat brothers. Not everyone wants to participate in such a family dinner. Spider tries to run away as soon as possible. That's just there's one small problem. The rest of them have exactly the same plan, like her, and here the spider runs out of road. It would seem this is a dead end. Her hungry brothers are approaching, but this babe has incredible skills, helping her make the great escape. She's releasing negatively charged silk threads. In a positively charged atmosphere, opposites attract and pull it up. This spider enjoys the laws of physics. She high-ups, then she is picked up by the wind, and now she can cover 1,000 kilometers. They colonized every corner of the earth. At the mercy of the wind, she can't choose where to land and therefore accidentally lands on water. But a spider weighs less than a grain of sand and doesn't even go under the surface. She's releasing her magic silk again and rolls on water skis to safety until finally is what to catch on to. There will be her new home. This is Savannah Pangolin. He resembles an armadillo, but they aren't soulmates. It's a fully armored mammal. Almost a third of the mass of this female is armor. The animal eats up to 200,000 ants a day. There is no threat to this beast in principle. In addition to armor, he has another one level of protection. Even if the big cats try to attack him, then it emits from the anal glands liquid with a disgusting smell, scaring away enemies, although it constantly emits a feisty smell. And now understand why. Animal found that what was looking for fresh wildebeest excrement. Pangolins love swimming in wildebeest manure and zebras. Perhaps this is done for that, to kill parasites. And maybe it's a personal fragrance. It's such a perfume. Applying weird perfume, animal goes to sleep. Frozen forest of Canada. Winter here lasts 6 months. Underground frozen, the northernmost turtles of the earth. Painted turtle. They are in their own special space. Hatched back last fall, but since then, none of the individuals have practically moved. They were immediately frozen by the evil winter, and now they are dead. But for some animals, death is a temporary phenomenon. Painted turtles are underground and waiting for the most important moment, arrival of spring. In April, heat from the sun trigger incredible changes. Turtles' body temperature rises above zero, and their hearts start beating again. Slowly they come back to life, thanks to the superpowers of their body. At these turtles' spring, there is a good advantage. They go out into the forest among the first, and get a chance to enjoy the updated forest vegetation. Moving to the forests of Germany. It's nut season here now, and squirrels trying to stock up on them for the winter. This is vital. Competing with relatives, they hide supplies underground and in a hollow. This squirrel works tirelessly. Time is pressing up, but all this did not go unnoticed. He's secretly being watched. This is someone who is also looking for food. Sly thief Cedar. She also needs to stock up for winter, but to look for nuts too lazy. Much easier to steal them. You only have to watch the squirrels. What exactly is she doing? Squirrel is not the stupidest and makes fake hiding places. The bird comes, and there is nothing there. But Cedar is a stubborn bird. Next cache of squirrels she finds quickly, and drags away a few nuts in a couple seconds. Squirrel does not have time to chase away the thief in time. In the jungle by Point Guinea, northern Australia, inhabited by quite a few bird artists. This is a male of Paradise Gazebo, who devoted his whole life to the art of seduction, and now he is using fly wings. Performs her extravagant dance in front of a female to strike her with his irresistibility. However, there is one little problem. The fact is that this is not a female at all. It's the same male, just young, and therefore has a different color. Young males pretend to be females on purpose, to learn from more experienced. Just here's the thing. It takes about 5 years to learn such a difficult dance. And if the young males don't learn, then will not continue his race. At the moment when the dancing male understands who is actually standing in front of him, dance lessons stop, and the adult male shows indifference to the cheater. No matter how persuaded, there is a colony of ants who lives in fallen acorns. In every acorn, there are hundreds of them. They are very small, and that's on letting them live in tiny houses like that. Acorn at first glance is a reliable home. However, settling inside someone's food is not the most sensible idea. Giants roam the forest. Wild turkeys. Ants should grab it tighter and hold the larvae, so like can shake hard. The house from acorn has a solid construction. Can roll. The whole life of these ants is entirely dependent. That's from this bug. Oak weevil. Will not, and these ants. Oak weevil climb acorns even before that. How do they mature? But those bugs don't feed on them. These acorns need them for offspring. Weevil can only drill immature acorns. After he makes a hole, beetle lays exactly one egg, and then goes to other acorns to do the same thing. When acorns ripen, they're starting to fall off, and all sorts of squirrels. Immediately they are taken to collect them and drag them into their hiding places. But it's full of empty acorns. Their squirrels don't carry away. They are not interested. Empty acorns of steel due to oak weevil, who laid his eggs in them. Larvae have already become quite large size, and now it's time to get out. After they crawl away, empty acorns, like y'all already know, still find uses. If weevils didn't make holes in acorns, then these ants would not be able to live in them. They themselves are not able to make such a hole. If you remember then in one of the old videos, I told you about Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean, on which hordes of forest crabs live. 10,100,000. Those crabs are the main attraction of the island. Tourists come here just to watch them march. But unfortunately, these creatures began to die out massively here. In recent years, 1 million red crabs don't make it to the sea. The fact is that the island was occupied by the invader, yellow crazy ants. They are called that, and that's the title these ants totally deserve. They were accidentally brought here on ships, visiting the island, and in view of the lack of prey, created huge super colonies in the forest. When migrants, red crabs marching through their territory, ants attack, they inject formic acid into the crabs' eyes and mouths, and crabs are absolutely defenseless before that. Blinded, beaten, with the sense they are doomed. It's an isolated crab community, have lived quietly for 1 million years on this island, but now because of people's misstep, who brought ants, 30 million crabs were exterminated in a short time. And now there are 80 million of them on the island instead. 50 million, generally 80% animals, extinct because of humans, were island animals. Forever hungry ants, taking crabs apart into pieces and carry in their anthills. Network of roads crossing the island doesn't contribute to these animals thriving either. Crabs don't mind. Back up even with your crush mates. People try to help crabs overcome roads, moves on some of them, stop for migration time. Also, the locals even built special bridges, allowing crabs to cross the most busy roads at their own pace. Underground passages were also created. All this way crabs do to get to the water and lay eggs. They are afraid of water, since the wave they picked up can easily rip a crab into small pieces. What is actually with many here and happens fast, water tears the unfortunate to pieces. To fish, it's only enjoy. Well, the tin begins when billions of small crustaceans hatch from caviar, who rush back to the forest, repeating the twisty path of his parents. Here are the yellow crazy ants coming off in full. Small crabs they destroy on an industrial scale, filling their pantries to capacity. Luckily, there are so many crabs, by a huge number of them manage to cross the land of ants. Crab carpet covers everything in its path. They're literally everywhere. The world is very dangerous if you are very small, and many don't make it to their parents' house. Well, those who get there also do not particularly envy. Life with parents is sweet, and you can't name it. See what is the matter of shadows versus snacking youth. So in the woods, crab to hide from adults for 5 years, eat and grow, then they will return to the sea and throw into it. Already it's caviar, transported to the Amazon jungle. It's a spider monkey, take a lot of risk, coming down to earth, since Gore can eat her, but she wants to take a piece of land very badly. But suddenly there are noises coming from behind the foliage. Monkeys climb back up trees fast. However, the alarm is false. It's just a pack of wild boars, but the monkey managed to snatch a piece of land. Why does she need him? Well, of course, to eat. What else can you do with the earth? The bravery of these monkeys is rewarded, and they can eat enough of the earth. But elephants in the wild places of Thailand do not have to. Taking risks for land mining. No one will risk disturbing them. The elephants break the earth and send big chunks in their mouths. If you remember, I once told about similar passion for eating earth in various species of birds. All these animals eat her for minerals, which are found in large quantities in clay, and in very small quantities contained in plants, because one plants do not get all the necessary elements, and because of that many animals have to eat earth. On the west coast of North America, you can see some pretty strange animals on the rocks. Is that an acorn shell? During low tide, each of them locks itself inside its miniature fortress protected by a ring of armored plates. But when the water covers them, they spread their feathery legs, with help, which catch plankton and absorb oxygen from the water. These crustaceans are relatives of crabs and shrimp. They're firmly glued and can't move around, but that doesn't stop them from mating. The fact is that these wonderful animals, incredibly huge genitals, the longest among all animals. In relation to body size, their genital organ is 8 times longer. The clam itself. What do you think? What happens in this footage? One shark trying to eat the other one. No, it's just a male shark trying to force a female mate with him. This animal species has mating for a female is an extremely painful process, since after him she remains scarred. Miracle that does not die at all. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel.